Today is 21st November, market opened negative, and after the initial move was not able to hold the gain and eventually retraced, trading off high, down 5.3738. Now over here we have a very strong move followed by a pullback. So this itself with a series of overlapping bar is a weak move, and we may experience further pullback from here. Today bar is actually considered a weak bar. I'd like to actually see what happens. If we can trade sideways, that will be generally positive, and eventually we'd like to see move up and test the resistance at 3,800. The all-time high is at 3,906. Support remain at this level, which is important, 3,650. Let's take a look at the US market. This is S&P 500 on the weekly charts, trading within the bullish channels. After this trust bar here, now experience pullback is perfectly normal. So this is an insight there. It's just a temporary pause. If you take a look at the daily charts itself, it's important, like we'd like to actually recover this gap. Otherwise, we may experience further pullback. So notice actually the volume is actually low, so we have still got 2 more days. If we remain at this level, this is considered as favorable. Look at the Nasdaq, which is slightly weaker, but nevertheless notice actually after this wide range bar we have experienced a pullback. We test the support level and it's actually currently holding there. So it's important for those levels to hold, and eventually you'd like to see move up and take out this recent high here of 19,366. Now remember, on the longer terms the trend remains intact. This is a 10-year treasury yield. Notice over here is losing momentum, especially over the last few sessions. You can see the rejection of this high. This few days you trade with tail, so actually indication there's resistance level here at about 4.5. The slight convergence of the 1326 SMA also indications of losing momentum. This is perfectly normal after this strong move. Important thing is like to see whether eventually you can take out the high at 4.5. Otherwise it may just continue to trade sideways. Now notice over here that the 1326 remained actually intact. It's just that we have experienced some losing of momentum, but it may well still move up. But important levels to watch is actually 4.5. Brent crude's slight bias towards the downside. If you notice over here, after this break, it's actually trading within the bearish channels. Now the 70-71 is a very important support levels, and I would like to actually watch this. Breaking this support level will require a catalyst. So if there is easing of tension in the Middle East, or perhaps a peace deal, it may actually provide a catalyst for it to break on the downside. There's our attentions of the local stocks. This is DBS. Very powerful move here. If you notice, huge gap, extension bars, and followed by a series of sideways bars is perfectly normal. You need to actually catch his breath before you move up again. But by and large, we see the triple in volume. Again, we like to actually patiently wait for it to finish. Eventually, take out the recent high here of 43.02. OCBC, similar actions, very strong move here, and now trading within below this resistance level here. Notice there were a couple of attempts. So again, if you trade a series of small bar, that is a sign of pause, and eventually you would like to see an assault at this high here of 1660. UOB, a bit more violent in the move, followed by very sharp throwback. But if you notice, actually the volume didn't pick up quite significantly, and at this level here we're experiencing pullback. Again, it may just consolidate, close out of daylight, and eventually look for eventual break on the upside. Another blue chips that shows strength. This is a dairy farm. So you notice this is a very important level to watch, and it was hovering at this level for a while before it finally break on the upside. 3 wide range bar followed by a doji on low volume. This is a temporary pause, likely to pull back. Look for setup and look for eventually break above the high here of 257. Hong Kong Land, a bit more volatile. After this strong rub, equally strong reaction on the downside, follow a bounce, so more likely it will trade sideways. Perhaps you can take a look at the weekly charts, and you can see that actually 1326 rising, and this is a very obvious resistance level. At this point in time, a small dipper on the weekly bar high here is at $5, which is a round numbers. It's a psychological resistance. Mentioned in last video, so JMH is just that we may have liquidity issue, but by and large, very strong move followed by a pullback and a break on the upside. This is a big dipper break and very nice follow through. At this point in time, a small dipper setup bar high here is at 43.39. Now the remaining blue chips are generally lackluster, but I would like to just discuss them. This is Singtel. Of the very impressive run, it kind of like weakened. If you notice, we have this today, I think it's ex-dividends, but whatever the case, this is quite messy. It's best to leave them alone. Crisscrossing on the moving average is pretty obvious. It's a sign of consolidation. SIA, after this gap down followed by a throwback, this is a pretty obvious resistance level and it's tested. I would like to see a range expansion on the downside, and perhaps we can take the opportunity to short the stock. If we can break this level here, this low here is at 626. Now remember, a series of sideways bars is just indication of rest. Sets hovering at the support levels. Again, it may well just trade sideways. So these are not so favorable compared to the banks and the earlier blue chips that we talked about. Likewise for Semco Industry, the stock is actually weak but is trying to stage a reversal. So you notice actually after this strong downward move, this is actually a flat pattern. We're looking for a break on the downside but managed to recover, and this here which I drawn, this is a gap resistance, managed to clear that followed by a pause indicated today by the inside day on low volume. Again, if you break on the upside, we can just ride on the momentum build here, but it's likely to be here and run. Take note, this are overhead resistance. So this high here is at 534. Capricorn is actually impressive in the sense that you have a very strong upward move. At this resistance level, is pullback. The pullback is quite deep. The only consolation, the volume is not very high. So again, we'll just observe what happens. Again, if you break on the upside, just take note that these are resistance levels. We generally prefer it to just hover before the resistance level before it break out. So here it's actually pretty deep. Whatever the case, this level here is an area towards 678. It's probably will take some time before it performs. Likewise for Citrums, notice that retracement is actually quite untidy in the sense that actually it's not something that is shallow. So it may well form a very large consolidation patterns, and this usually takes some time to complete. Likewise for Yangzijiang, been stuck in a trend range for quite some time. And if you notice, actually this is a very stubborn resistance. Important to actually watch this level. That is at about 272 or so.